Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay locked in for more real, raw stories like this. I never imagined those words would come from someone I had shared over 10 years with. "I regret marrying you," Lauren said, her tone sharp and deliberate, like a long-delayed judgment finally delivered. I froze, the space between us suddenly thick with years of buried frustration, unspoken disappointment, and silent blame. In that instant, it hit me how delicate marriage can be, how fractures can form quietly until everything collapses without warning. For so long, I had poured everything into us, my affection, my loyalty, my patience, my support. I had been the steady ground when life turned chaotic, the one who absorbed the pressure, without complaint. Yet in her gaze that day, none of it seemed to exist anymore. This wasn't a flash of anger. It was something colder, a confession of deep-rooted dissatisfaction. Proof that somewhere along the road, she had decided our life together fell short. I didn't respond right away. Lashing out, begging, or showing resentment would only fuel her attempt to reduce me. So I stayed still, letting her words settle, allowing them to reveal their full meaning. "I regret marrying you," she repeated, as though repetition would somehow seal the truth. But strangely, they no longer cut the way they once would have. My mind drifted to every compromise, every restless night, every quiet sacrifice I had made for us. And in that reflection, I felt something unexpected, not heartbreak, but awareness, clarity. She wasn't just speaking. She was exposing her true self. And without realizing it, she handed me a doorway back to my own life. In that moment, I chose change. She would learn what solitude feels like, not through spite, but through my calm refusal to keep orbiting someone who saw me as a disappointment. This wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. I would no longer build my world around a person who had already dismissed my worth. I would pull back, create space, and let her face the silence left behind by someone who had once given everything. As I started shaping my next steps, an unfamiliar blend of relief and quiet excitement washed over me. For the first time in years, the future felt unclear, yet alive with possibility. I understood then that real strength isn't in clinging. It's in knowing when to walk away. And that night marked the beginning of my new path. The following morning, I began with small, controlled shifts. I no longer hurried to fit my life around her schedule or reshape my plans for her convenience. Each move was subtle, almost unnoticeable, but deliberate. The absence of my constant availability became her first glimpse of what she had long taken for granted. I wasn't hostile or theatrical. I was simply present in my own existence, no longer a background figure in hers. Lauren caught on quickly. At breakfast, her eyes lingered on mine, confusion and unease flickering beneath the surface. "You've changed," she remarked, trying to sound casual, though her voice carried tension. I offered a faint smile but said nothing, allowing the silence to speak for me. At this point, actions mattered more than words ever could. I reconnected with friends I had drifted from, returned to passions I had ignored, and found joy in small moments I had sacrificed to keep the peace. The more I focused on myself, the more obvious my absence became in her world. Every decision I made without consulting her was a quiet declaration that I was no longer bound to her version of me. Her reaction was swift. Lauren grew restless, sharp, defensive. She attempted conversation, then criticism, then guilt. None of it landed. I stayed balanced and unmoved, grounded in a calm she could no longer shake. Her attempts echoed off someone who had finally recognized his own worth. Evenings felt like a reflection of our past, but reversed. She still expected me to adjust, to cater, to supply the attention she once received effortlessly. Instead, I remained steady, quietly independent. The stillness I carried spoke louder than any argument ever could, a constant reminder that the control she assumed was gone. By the second week, her irritation was impossible to ignore. She questioned me, searched for reactions, tried to resurrect the old dependency. But with every push, my resolve only strengthened. For the first time, she grasped that her words and coldness no longer ruled me. Loneliness was approaching her fast, and it would teach her the weight of her choices. By the third week, everything had shifted. Her methods grew more frantic. sharp remarks, emotional traps, practice guilt, even forced sadness. Yet every tactic met the same response from me: calm, silent attachment. I had stepped out of her drama and into my own awareness. One night in the living room, she approached me, her voice trembling just slightly. "Are you even going to talk to me anymore?" she asked, searching for weakness in my eyes. I met her gaze, not with hostility, but with firm understanding. "I am talking," I replied, "but I'm speaking as myself now, not the version you try to shape." The weight of that truth stilled her completely. Days blurred into weeks, and the emptiness she felt deepened. She had counted on my compliance, my presence, the comfort of easy access to my attention. But that entitlement was gone. I had reclaimed my time, my energy, my identity. She noticed everything. I stopped waiting up when she stayed out late. I no longer molded my plans around her moods. And those subtle jabs she once passed off as jokes, I no longer accepted them. Her loss of control mirrored a reality she long refused to see. Our life was meant to be shared, not dominated, and I was done shrinking. The moment I knew the transformation was complete came one quiet evening. She looked worn down, drained by her failed attempts, and whispered, "I don't know how to reach you anymore." Those words carried the echo of her own regret. Not victory, not pleasure, just the understanding that she had lost what she once handled carelessly. I didn't mock her realization. I didn't celebrate it. I simply nodded, acknowledging what was now undeniable. Sometimes a lesson isn't delivered through confrontation, but through absence, through self-reclamation, through letting someone sit with a void they created. For Lauren, the phrase, "I regret marrying you," finally met a reality she could no longer command: isolation. And for me, it marked freedom, a reminder that dignity and independence rise far above any attempt at humiliation or belated remorse.